So on the screen, I've got a quadratic trinomial. Okay, the first thing you should notice is that the problem goes from x squared to x, and then there is no variable next to the 2. It goes from x squared to x, and then there is no variable next to the 2. That tells me it's quadratic form, and if it factors, quadratic form normally factors into 2 what? Binomials. Guys, it's important for you to understand to first evaluate, is it quadratic form? This is. Now I ask myself, what times what will give me x squared? X times x. Right? And then I look at my last term, 2, and I write all the factors of 2. Well, 1 times 2 are the only factors. So I know I will have to have a 1 here, and I will have to have a 2 here. Now, this plus sign does not tell me that I need a plus sign here and a plus sign here. That would be wrong. Okay? This plus sign here, the second sign, tells me that the 2 signs will be the same. Okay? If this sign right here is positive, that means the 2 signs here and here are simply the same. It does not tell you what they are. It just means they're either both positive or both negative. If it is positive, then you can look to the first sign to know what they are. So they're both going to be negative. And so then it's, you know right there that it's fully factored. Okay? And if you refoiled it, you would get the same thing that you started with. Let's look at this example. Remember, our first step is always to identify if this is quadratic or not. If it's not, it factors differently. This one goes from x squared to x and then no variable, so it is quadratic. So I immediately write 2 sets of what? Yep. And I know that x times x will give me x squared. And I need to write my factors of 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. And then I look and I say, is there one of these groups that will add or subtract to be 10? Now look, guys, don't be fooled. Sometimes there will be 2 sets that add up or subtract. And then you got to figure out which one's the correct one. Okay, in this case, there's only one. 8 plus 2 does equal 10. So I'm going to write a 2 here and an 8 here. Then I look at the sign. Okay, this sign is a plus sign, which tells me the signs will be the same. So then I look to this sign and it tells me they will both be positive, and I'm done. So as we look at this, step 1 is always to check and see the form it is in. This goes from x squared to x, and then there is no variable. So this is quadratic form. If quadratic form factors, it normally will factor into what? 2 binomials. Not always, but most of the time. Now what times what gives me x squared? X times x. And then I've got to list my factors of 18, which are 1 times 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. All right, now there's no way to add or subtract 1 and 18 and end up with 9. There's no way to add or subtract 2 and 9 and end up with 9. But I can add 3 and 6 and get 9. Now this plus sign tells me they will be the same, and this plus sign tells me that they will both be positive.